found out really sold for $790. Well, we heard staying car, yeah. You know how it works. You know, neighborhood talk. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it isn't. One of the things we always do is we always check the Zillow values because we know they're probably going to do that. So I can be prepared for that. So when they say, well, gosh, you know, we're on the Zillow site, and I'll say, yeah, and it said 1.3 million. How do you know? Because I know it's always off.
I mean, your findings, since you use Zillow obviously more often than most of us, is it still as off as?
It's completely random. It could be, you got an equal chance of it being on the mark, way high, way low. You know, it's like appraisals. You know, anything that looks at past data misses out on a lot of dynamic that determines current value. You know, current value is a function of what choices someone has, you know, right now, not what sold yesterday or 2 months ago. So, you know, and what's available at any moment in time changes all the time. So, what else? What other questions? Any challenges when you've tried to pre-qualify someone? Assuming you've tried.
Yeah, for sale by owners, when you say, you know, may I ask, and they say, oh, I don't want to tell you that, or it's none of your business.
And this is one for sale by owner where you're just trying to set a listing appointment, or you're going over just to preview their home.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out for their motivation. Are they living in it? Is it rented? Is it, you know, did it expire? What's happening with it? And you just start asking them questions about it.
So give me an example like of a question you'd ask, and it's.
Okay, well they'll say, okay, well I was renting it and I think I'm going to list it. Okay, great, and you know I see it's for $4.99. What do you owe on the property? Well, I don't want to tell you.
Okay. I don't know that I would ask that question right at that point in time, because the answer really doesn't matter at that moment in time. Now,
well,
if you're
trying to ascertain if they're going to be a short sale or not. I mean, that's.
Well, before you do that, I think you need to ascertain whether they have motivation and whether it's one you want. You know, and then you can determine that. And look you can get that information without asking it. Right? You can find out what someone owes on a property without asking them. Which reminds me too, Louis, what you were saying. We get PRs every time we list a property, right? So yeah, so we just order a PR every time we list a property, so we know that stuff up front, so you're not blindsided later. Yeah, we just listed one where these two partners own it, and based on what they said they owe, you know, it'd have to sell for the high 8s you know, for them to be able to, you know, not be a short sale. And then, you know, we just got the PR, and you know, one of them doesn't know that there's $30,000 behind on payments, that there's $15,000 in back taxes. You know, there's all this other stuff that, you know, now I have to call them and say, hey, here's the real picture. You know, you're either gonna have to do a short sale or, you know, let it go because we can't help you.
Is PR property profile?
The preliminary title report.
Oh, okay.
PP would be a property profile.
I run into people calling me saying, well, we had it listed with a friend in the past and we kind of use them because they're friends, but we're ready to kind of do something different. I get that a lot. But then I always have trouble getting the listings because they always say to me, well, out of respect for them, I need to at least have a conversation with them before I'm going to sign anything. And I just had one where it happened to me, and then she went back and had the conversation with her friend, and then called me back and said, I'm going to give her one more chance. So how do you, if you're pre-qualing and they tell you that?
Now these are properties that aren't listed.
Aren't listed.
Then I'm going on the appointment, and I'm going to handle that when it comes up at the appointment. It's just an objection to handle.
So you wouldn't handle it on the pre-qual?
No, because it's not likely to even be an objection on the pre-qual. You know, they may mention that they have a friend or whatever, or, you know, but you know, if they're calling you in that situation, they don't want to be listing with their friend.
But I mean, if they say this, after you ask the first question, when they say to you, you know, if we like you, we probably would list with you, but I would say if you come over and talk to us, we would want to like then have a conversation with our friend first out of respect, and then at that point we would list it with you.
So I'm gonna go and just handle that objection when I get there.
Okay.
Call them together.
Yeah, and then we get down to the end, you know, by that point they're gonna see huge difference in what we do versus their friend, and there's not gonna be a whole lot of question in their mind. And if they still need to call a friend and say, you know what may be easier, and I've done this for several people and it's worked out really well. If you want, I'll call your friend and let him know that I forced you to hire me and that we appreciate everything they've done. And as a courtesy, we're gonna give them first chance to find a buyer so they can still earn a commission. Oh, will you do that? Yeah, I'd be happy to.
I find that most the sellers that pull the friend issue are trying to save money. They think that
They
the
were
friend will do
initially,
it for
yeah.
less, or that they'll be able to control the situation and won't, you know, this fear of being controlled or forced to do what they don't want to do, which is clearly not the case in either case.
Right. They usually end up with a friend because of their friend. The friend gave them a deal because they think that's what friends should do, and then none of it ever works. So. What time is it?
12:30.
12:30.
This is related to listings. I'm asking on behalf of another agent. Who has, Aaron's like, yeah, because I'm out there so much with buyers. So, one of the agents came in to me this morning and said, what's your script? I'm like, oh my God, I'm too rusty. So script, sign call. You're answering the sign call, and you know, do you have an agent? No, you know, they want to go see the property, but they're unwilling to come into the office and meet with you. They just said, just show me the property. I just want to see the house. How do you all handle it? Are you sticklers for getting them in? Would you just go show them the house? How do you ask more questions? I don't have an agent. I just want you to go show me the house. But the agent asked the question wants to try to get them in for an appointment. So
What do you say to him, Aaron?
Well, it depends. I'd have to ask a few more questions depending on how long they've been looking for a house, or is this the first house that they've happened to be driven by, you know, see how familiar they are with the process. And then it just depends. Usually you can tell through the conversation you're having if, you know, if you can't get them in, if it would be worth just going out there to meet them and then setting up an appointment to get them back to the office.
what makes it worthwhile? What do you need to hear for you to make the decision? I'll go out and meet these people because I think that they sound pretty legitimate. It would be worth me trying to get an appointment afterwards.
You know, if obviously if they're not working with an agent, if this is the first house they've seen, or if they've seen just a few houses, you know, they've only been seeing a few houses, they're not, you know, too entrenched into the process.
You need to ask questions like, how long have you been looking? You know, have you made any offers? Have you, you know, do you have a house to sell? You know, by the time you ask several of those questions, you're gonna know, like, all right, this could be good, or there's no way.
An important question would probably be if they've been dealing with a lender.
That's what I was going to say. Is that
Yeah, have you gotten pre-approved with a lender yet? Oh no, it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, but it's an important question, but not a decision-making question on whether you're gonna meet with them or not. But you ask enough questions, you'll know. When I used to go work with the buyers I used to work with, I never met someone where I was regretful that I went out to meet with them. I mean, by the time I asked the questions and made the decision, okay, I'm gonna meet them at this house, it was always worth the trip.
Just to show how important pre-qual is, I got a buyer call the other day. They wanted to see a house in Poway. I asked a couple of questions because I was nervous. You know, have you worked with a lender? No, but we can afford it. We just want to see the house. I got out there. I showed them my listing. I walked out. I said, is this something you think you want to submit an offer on? She turned around and looked at me and said, you know, I have my license. I'm not active, but if I did write an offer, I think I may even just write it myself.
Ouch. Thank you.
Big waste of time. Not pre-qual.
And it's
So
okay.
excellent if you want to work for free. 'Cause
It's okay
you
to
pay the entire commission.
yeah, it's like perfect. Yeah.
Save
And it's okay to say, hey, if you know, if you like this property, are you planning to have us represent you on it? Oh no, I have my own license, or my sister's gonna be our agent. So then you know what you're dealing with. All right. Any other announcements?
Yes. What's next Tuesday?
Awards.
Awards. Where are they?
Morgan.
Morgan Run Country Club. You guys, our regular team meeting is our 2009 awards. It's next Tuesday, the 23rd. It's 11:15 to 12:30.